This is Hemant.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast to support this show and get your ad-free and bonus episodes. And if you are hoping to be or are near the Naperville area on September 13th, which is a Saturday in Illinois, on September 13th, which is a Saturday around 5 p.m. local time, we are having a celebration of sorts for our 600th podcast anniversary
episode
/ Jess's
my 40th and my 10th anniversary with my husband all are falling within like 10 days of each other.
Yeah, so if you're able to come, it is at Solemn Oath Brewery, and the link to that will be in the show notes. Mm-hmm. Kids are welcome, pets are welcome. Come on by. It's outdoors. It'll be fun.
Just paid a $50 deposit, so it is on, gang.
There you go.
I can't get that money back. How are you doing,
Don't
Hemant?
make us lose $50 in deposit money. Doing fine.
Do you want to tell everybody how good we were at trivia?
We were so good at trivia that we took at least 49th place out of 80 teams.
There were 80 teams, and at one point they were like naming all of them, and I was like, wow, we're doing really good because they haven't said our name yet. And then
so they're waiting to say us.
And then I realized they're not going to name all 80 teams, Jessica. Right. They're going to name the top 10 or whatever.
Only named the top 40, and we were not in it.
Not aggressively not in it felt.
So your devious plan to bring me on as a ringer failed you miserably.
Listen, there was one math problem, and you know what? You nailed it based on our specious math.
You are welcome.
All right, let's hit it.
I did want to start with some good news.
Oh.
James Dobson is dead.
Hey, bye.
This is a story that somehow permeated so much that Jess brought it up to me and said, are we talking about this? And I'm like, yes, next time.
Yep. This was a celebration that I bore witness to online. Really excited to see another one bite the dust.
Not the obituary I was hoping for, but one I will take.
Apparently, my husband, Mikey's birthday was on Sunday, and his sister texted him and was like, all the TikTok psychics are saying Trump is going to die today, so keep your fingers crossed. Which, I mean, it didn't happen, but I really like the energy people are putting out into the world.
So let's talk about this guy and what his legacy is. James Dobson is the guy who founded Focus on the Family. His parenting advice terrorized generations of children
growing up. Is he the to rear up a child one? Or is that a different? The to rear up a child? Raise up a child?
To raise up a child.
He's not him?
He's not the people who wrote that book, the husband and wife who wrote that book, but he influenced them.
Certainly in the neighborhood of them.
Yeah. His advice terrorized generations of kids. Grew up in conservative Christian families, and he died at the age of 89 because only the good die young. I don't know why he died. His family did not say why he died.
Oh, did he die of being 89?
We can rule out heart attack.
Because he doesn't have a heart?
Anyway,
pretty good, Hemant.
One of the interesting things is all the obituaries I read, they talk about how influential he was, because he was. He spearheaded the rise of the religious right and a movement that has now, I guess, become Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
He is a guy who, for decades, he influenced people through his Christian ministry, his radio shows, which reach so many people, his commentaries, his books. I mean, if we are living in a country where LGBTQ people are living in fear and access to women's health care depends on where you live, and where Republicans who name check Jesus can just get away with anything, it's probably because of this guy.
Cool.
Largely because of this guy. And the irony for James Dobson is if you aren't familiar with him or you haven't heard his name in the past, 10 years, he still was kind of powerful in a sense. Like, this guy actively endorsed Donald Trump in 2016, and the way he did it is that he said, don't worry, you guys. This is June of 2016, before the Access Hollywood tape, but when he was campaigning, and everyone knew he was, this is bad. He was like, don't worry, Trump is born again.
Oh.
He said that phrase, and he also said he personally knew the guy who led Trump to Christ.
Oh, who was that?
What's the name of that person?
Tell me it's Jeff Epstein.
James Dobson said, I'm not telling you who it was. Just trust me.
Oh, that's really funny.
Somehow creepier. James Dobson said Trump really made a commitment, even if he is a, quote,
idiot,
baby Christian. Half right. Like, imagine a guy whose entire career is, you got to listen to me because I'm the one who knows right from wrong. And then he fell victim to the most obvious scam of all time.
Truly, the number of people Trump has just like, I don't know, mesmerized? What has he done to people?
Or scared into submission, whichever one you want to call it.
I think he tapped something in their dumb lizard brain.
And then James Dobson, even if you were like, okay, but he did that before Access Hollywood,
Right.
before we knew he was a bad person, even though all sane people knew he was a bad person. James Dobson later served on Trump's Evangelical Executive Advisory Board.
Oh, was he in that picture when everybody's laying hands on him and it defo looked like a cult?
There's a couple of those pictures, and I don't remember seeing Dobson in any of them, but he may have been.
I'm going to stop asking questions that are not pertinent to the
There
situation.
But I wanted to go back because even if you did not grow up in a household where his books were part of your upbringing, there's a few things he's done that I think are worth remembering as we go through his legacy. So here's one. 2008. In 2008, Focus on the Family, which he was still running at the time, they issued a warning to Christians everywhere about this horrible man named Barack Obama. And the way they did it is they published this fictional letter from 2012 to the people of 2008. Like, hey, guys, I'm from the future. I'm from 2012, and I'm here to tell you everything that just happened because Obama got elected. It's called A Letter from 2012 in Obama's America. And it's trying to scare these Christians into thinking, here's what happened because you allowed this man to win. And it laid out a country in which a liberal Supreme Court took away everyone's freedom with their 6-3 liberal supermajority.
What freedoms?
We'll get there. Where homosexuals are now given special bonuses for enlisting in military service.
I love that for them.
Where after-school Bible clubs are banned.
That isn't.
Where private ownership of guns is illegal.
Good.
If only. Where churches are forced to host same-sex weddings.
I mean, forced is a strong word. I would say
forced.
it's more like we're trying not to be nightmare people and clearing the lowest bar possible.
All the fear-mongering was based entirely on lies. And now we are living in a country where we are seeing what happens when the exact opposite comes true. And it's awful. But this is what they did. They were like, if Obama gets elected, all of these things are going to happen. Obviously, none of those things happened because the caricature they had of Obama was bullshit.
And it's funny because in 2016 and 2020, when I was like, hey, I think this is the stuff that Trump is going to do, I believe we were collectively told to calm down.
Yes. And all of that. I mean, how many memes have we seen like Hillary was right, Kamala was right? It's like, yeah, I know, because it's not hard to figure out what Trump's going to do because he keeps saying it.
Yep.
And all the shitty stuff he says he's going to do does come true.
Yep.
All the stuff he says this will help our country never comes true.
Not.
It's not hard to figure that guy out.
No.
Anyway, in 2021, after Biden was inaugurated, Dobson wrote, now he's like on his newsletter, which very few people were reading, relatively speaking, to his former
like
thing.
Like a Substack or like a literal newsletter?
Whatever old people don't know how to unsubscribe from his mailing list.
Got it. I'm here.
And this is what he said in 2021, shortly after Biden was inaugurated. The years ahead will bring more regulation, less freedom, more taxation, less religious liberty, more socialism, less democracy, more funds for abortion, less support for the sanctity of human life, less funding for the military, more illegal immigration, more restrictions on speech, less patriotism, more wasteful spending, less support for families, more regulations on business. This is my favorite.
This person needs a copy editor.
More appeasement of China, Iran, Russia, and North Korea. Which clearly was a big deal.
Yeah. Were we worried about Russia then? Because I thought Russia and we were buddies now.
We're buddies now. Less support for the Electoral College. Trillions more dollars for climate nonsense.
Not trillions.
More LGBTQ propaganda. Less moral compunction. More governmental corruption. Less oversight of elections. More cancel culture. Fewer police officers. More gun control and less government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Holy shit.
So this guy,
a copy editor.
Dude, this guy was worried about less freedom, but he doesn't care about the Trump administration's concentration camps.
Can I suggest you just put that speech into an Excel spreadsheet? It would have been more effective.
This guy fears appeasement of Russia. Guess what? Trump is cozying up to Putin. This guy warned against governmental corruption. Meanwhile, there's constant grifting emanating from
just
the White House.
generally.
Like, yeah. By the way, in 2017, when sex predator Roy Moore was running for Senate from Alabama, and after the Washington Post article detailing what he had done to children came out, what did Dobson do? He recorded an ad urging Christians to ignore how Moore had been, quote, personally attacked by the Washington establishment, and he urged them to vote for this man of proven character and integrity.
I mean...
Right?
This
is James Dobson. This is where his moral compass took him.
Like, it will never not, I don't know, blow my mind, stupefy me when these men act like they are like the protectors of women, and the women are like, hey, you're harming me, and they're like,
what did we tell you about talking?
Like, it really... I wish I could understand any part of their weird lead-addled brain.
So that's all the political stuff I wanted to bring up here. And if that was all the problems he had, guess what? He's a dime a dozen. There's a lot of those guys who say the same things. But what made Dobson unique was how much he just delighted in watching other people suffer, especially kids.
Oh, boy.
So in 1970, he published a book called Dare to Discipline. And then later on, he wrote books called things like The Strong-Willed Child. He basically became the foremost advocate for beating kids into submission. And he was the counterweight to Dr. Benjamin Spock, who was like the parenting guru.
Yeah.
Who was like, oh yeah, that guy sounds like our parents raised us wrong, but this guy's telling us you don't have to hit your kids. It's not good. You can actually love them.
It's pretty wild that we as a culture got over the fact that there are two prominent Dr. Spocks in pop culture in the 1970s.
Star Trek one's Mr. Spock. How dare you?
He's not a doctor?
He's not a doctor.
Not even PhD?
And
not even an honorary doctorate from NIU?
All the listeners will come after you. Her name is Jessica, not me. Okay. So... in The Strong-Willed Child, he opened that book.
Do you have masters?
I am on page 4 of The Strong-Willed Child.
Okay.
And he opens that book. Page 4. He opens it with an anecdote about how he physically abused the family's pet dog.
No, don't.
Yes. I'm not reading all of it, but the dog's name is Siggy, short for Sigmund Freud, which is almost cute, and then you see what he does.
I'm sorry, that just broke my brain because truly, what a great name for a dog, but how dare this man have such a cool name for a dog?
Yes. So here's what he writes. The only way to make Siggy obey is to threaten him with destruction.
Destruction?
Nothing else works. And then later on, he brags, that tiny dog and I had the most vicious fight ever staged between man and beast. Are you ready for this next bit?
Yes. How big is the dog?
I'll answer that for you. I fought him up one wall and down the other, with both of us scratching and clawing and growling and swinging the belt. Pretty sure that dog was not involved.
I don't think the dog has opposable thumbs.
I am embarrassed by the memory of the entire scene.
And yet,
inch by inch, I moved him toward the family room and his bed. As a final desperate maneuver, Siggy jumped up on the couch and backed into the corner for one last snarling stand. I eventually got him to bed, but only because I outweighed him 200 to 12. 12 pounds.
It's the size of a house cat.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's the moral of the story.
Wait, I'm so sorry.
This is his opening to the book.
So for some years now, I've made it my mission to make men more embarrassed of their bullshit. Mm-hmm. And boy, do I have my work cut out for me with this dude, because he just bragged about how he outfought like a Yorkie. Mm-hmm. And again, when these people talk about raising children, and I don't have children, but I do have a big dumb dog, and I'm a horseback rider, and that's just not how animals do. Like, you're not supposed to wrestle your dog for dominance. You're supposed to establish dominance because you're the one with the food, you're the one with the resources, it's your space, and you have to communicate with them on their terms, because dogs don't understand toxic masculinity.
But then what do you do with the belt you're swinging around?
Like, I don't, again, I know I've said this a million times. I ride a, 1,500-pound Percheron cross horse. Guess how much I hit him?
Is it never?
It's never. I don't hit animals.
By the way, before that scene I just read to you, here's what he says. When I returned, I held up the belt and again told my angry dog to go get into his bed. He stood his ground. So I gave him a firm swat across the rear end, and he tried to bite the belt. I hit him again, and he tried to bite me.
You mean the dog was defending itself against its owner?
So here's the moral of
abusing him.
Why are we doing this? Because this is the moral of the story that Dobson writes. Quote, just as surely as a dog will occasionally challenge the authority of his leaders, a little child is inclined to do the same thing, only more so. When that nose-to-nose confrontation occurs between generations, it is extremely important, in italics. It is extremely important for the adult to win decisively and confidently. The child has made it clear that he's looking for a fight, and his parents would be wise not to disappoint him.
I cannot believe anybody let this man near children.
Uh-huh. This is how so many Christians were raised, because their parents were like, yes, this is good, solid
literally
Jesus advice.
Sink to their level. Like, oh, your kid is mad, then get madder.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That was in the 1970s. He wrote that. By 2015, on his one of his platforms,
adults should be embarrassed that they have to beat children, and especially little toddlers. Like, I know they're monsters. My 3-year-old nephew is going through a situation, but also at some point I can just pick him up and hold him. Like, I don't need to beat him into submission. Like, there's just leave him on the floor and let him do whatever he's got to do. Like, if he needs to cry it out, if he needs to whatever. But trying to beat a kid out of a tantrum, it's just the way parents scream calm down at their toddlers. I don't know that you're doing what you think you're doing.
After Dobson died, there was a lot of joy from people who no longer talk to their parents. And again, if you think this is written in the 70s, maybe 40, 50 years later, he's learned. No. Josh Harris, the guy who wrote I Kissed Dating Goodbye and emphasized purity culture. Even he's you know what? I wrote that when I was a kid.
Yeah, he was a teenager when he wrote it.
I was stupid and I'm sorry, and we've debated his actual apology, but whatever. He has said, I was wrong about that stuff. You should not read that book. I want it removed from the shelves. I don't want to make money off that book anymore.
Well, and he's about our age, right?
Ish, yeah.
So he doesn't have that lead poisoning brain.
That too. But Dobson, in 2015, was still encouraging abuse. So on one of his columns where he's like, people are writing me with questions, let me offer you advice. Someone basically said, I'm spanking my kid. It's not working. What's going on?
Spank
and
harder.
One of the things he said, I'm quoting here, the spanking may be too gentle. If it doesn't hurt, it isn't worth avoiding next time. A slap with the hand on the bottom of a multi-diapered 30-month-old is not a deterrent to anything. While being careful not to go too far, you should ensure he feels the message.
I'm writing multi-diapered
30-month-old. That's 2.5-year-old child.
Okay, I know this is the wrong thing. Why multi-diapers?
I'm not sure.
I don't think that's what diapers do.
I don't think it is.
Do you think the kid knows the beating is coming, and so he pulls out an extra pair of pull-ups?
Yeah. To shield himself. Anyway.
30-month-old is a cuckoo bananas crazy pants way to tell age.
Yeah.
What are you...
I'm pretty sure my kids could use the toilet. 2.5, 3. I mean, it's the transition stage.
It's a transition stage, but
So, this guy was not just offering shitty abusive parenting advice. He was also really dumb about sex, but he pretended to be an expert in that too. This is a guy who promoted purity culture before that was really a thing. And in his view, and he wrote about it in his books, don't worry, I'll read it to you soon.
No,
basically, he implied there's only one kind of sex. It's missionary style with your wife, where the man orgasms and the woman is...
silent.
There. Oh. Yes. Yes. Everything else
Close your eyes and think of England,
There's a wonderful video I would love to play for you, but I don't want to get demonetized, which is where he tells an audience of Christians, where he went to some conference or like he was in New York City.
Oh, God.
And he witnessed some stuff.
Tell
and
me.
he talks about specific sex acts that he was privy to. And it's like, where exactly did you go to do this research? I have questions.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
did
want to
he
go back to that.
answer?
I don't know. I just saw the clip. It's out of context. But in that, he's trying to
Weird.
explain to this group of scandalized adult Christians, he tries to explain glory holes,
No, he
threesomes,
doesn't. No, he
and
doesn't.
he reads them Prince lyrics. And he's like, listen to what this man is
This
saying.
is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Yes. So,
Little red Corvette.
yeah, I'll read to you something in a second. But in 2015, he was denouncing pastors who were kind to LGBTQ people.
Purple rain. Purple rain.
And he said, the B in LGBTQ,
Hit me.
I'm going to quote this.
Bestiality.
I would like them to think just for a moment about LGBT. The B stands for bisexual.
Oh.
That is orgies. That's a direct quote. The B stands for orgies is what he was getting at. The Borgies.
That is orgies needs to be a shirt. That's so.
Make a shirt.
That is
the B
orgies.
in
is,
LGBT stands for orgies.
That's. Oh, that's so
That's what he
good.
thinks bisexual means, which is you're always with multiple people at all times. When I don't know, the bisexual people I know are often perpetually single.
Yeah, I was gonna say. The thing I know about bisexuals, often single, can't sit in a chair correctly. That's the whole thing.
Okay. So his vanilla advice was also bad. This is an absolutely real passage from a 1975 book he wrote called What Wives Wish Their Husbands Knew About Women.
No.
And I won't read the whole thing because it's just long, but he says that when men are not getting sex, their semen literally builds up inside to the point that they need a physical release. And, quote, if she loves him, she will seek to satisfy those needs as meaningfully and as regularly as possible. Which, out of context, if you're saying you should make sure you're pleasuring your partner, okay?
No, not okay. If he's getting so much buildup, it's an emergency,
No,
then like
that's
he's
a
got
different
two good
thing.
hands.
That's a different thing. But
Oh.
the thing I want to point out, her sexual needs,
Oh.
they're never mentioned.
Who cares?
Because he has a reason for that. He has a reason for why he doesn't care about that.
Because he's not a woman and doesn't believe
Because,
women are
quote,
human.
Because, quote, her needs are typically less urgent and pressing.
So, oh my God. So what this guy is saying is that he has sex with his wife, hops in the shower, and she finishes herself off.
Well, in his view, she doesn't. Because
She doesn't need to.
Need
It's
it.
not an emergency the way
Right.
it is for him.
Right.
That
He literally went into the biological, like, this is what's happening inside your man at 72 hours.
I mean, and honestly, this sort of toxic thinking, this sort of this perpetuation of the idea that men need sex, otherwise they will literally die, was taught to me as a fucking 10-year-old. I learned about blue balls and oh, if you touch a guy's penis and he doesn't come, that's like the worst thing you can do.
And I realize that saying that, like, you have to take care of your partner. I mean, that is something, it depends on the relationship,
Right.
and it could be abused, obviously.
Yeah. I can be responsible for my own orgasm. Thank you, James Dobson.
He also wrote in his book, Dare to Discipline, that he implied that the only thing women bring to a relationship is sex. And so if they have it before marriage, they bring nothing to the table. This is an actual quote.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
If you're
But
not
you
a
said
virgin.
but you said the most important thing they can bring is sex, not their virginity.
Oh, no, he implied virginity.
Oh, sorry.
The natural sex appeal of girls, which, don't say that. The natural
no
sex
good.
appeal of
No
girls serves as their primary source of bargaining power in the game of life. That's a real statement.
What? Can you explain to me the male need, as a man, you're just going to have to explain for your people, the male need to make everything a zero-sum game and a competition? Have you noticed that, like, that's always when I see, like, the like, MRA people it's always like, well, if she has this, then she has a leg up on you. And if you do this, you have a leg up on her. And it's like, that sounds like a really fucking exhausting way to live your life.
Well, when I go to my MRA forums,
exactly. Could you just drop a line and let me know?
He also said, in exchange for feminine affection and love, a man accepts a girl as his lifetime responsibility, supplying her needs and caring for her welfare. This sexual aspect of the marital agreement can hardly be denied. Therefore, a girl who indiscriminately gives away her basis for exchange has little left with which to bargain.
And if that's true, does that mean he'll leave me alone? If I have nothing to bring to the table, will men stop yelling at me? Because that'd be good.
I wish I would tell you these are cherry-picked examples, but this is what he repeatedly encouraged Christians to do with their families. And there are countless stories I saw online last week, from people who survived being raised in households where this guy's advice was taken at gospel, and they have vowed, like, I'm never making that mistake with my kids. Here's a thing.
It also does seem like there are two kinds of people. There are the kind of people who were raised that way and either think that is okay or correct, or
I got spanked and I turned out fine. It's like, you did not.
Well, I was going to say more along the lines of, I got spanked, so you're going to get spanked, motherfucker. Like that, like, I got mine, you're going to get yours, which is, I think, an insane, again, wild way to live through life.
We talked about this last year, but there was a historian who's been critical of Trump and all that Christian nationalism stuff. But he wrote an article for The Atlantic about how James Dobson, despite all of his faults, taught his father, the writer's father, how to love his family more, and he appreciated that because his dad was like a hard ass, but James Dobson taught him you got to care for your family
by hitting him.
Well, as we talked about at the time, if you need to learn how to love your family from a guy like this, whose idea of love involves hitting your kids, lying about gay people, promoting violence against trans people, your life has taken a tragic turn. And if you, the writer in this case, turned out to be decent, it's only because you did not follow Dobson's advice. By the way, Dobson, just some quick hits here, he blames Sandy Hook massacre on atheism, abortion, and marriage, same-sex marriage. He blamed the mass shooting in El Paso, Texas on, quote, the LGBTQ movement closing in on the God-inspired and established institution of the family.
Didn't he have big ideas about Katrina?
I don't have it in front of me. I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
He equated Obamacare to living in Nazi Germany, as one does.
Huh. Well, that's an interesting stretch. Like, does he think healthcare is provided through, like, mass showers?
Sure.
I don't think he's right on that one. Go ahead.
There's a joke you can make about how this guy who denied climate change is about to experience a toasty afterlife. I saw that one.
That's not a good one.
After a lifetime of looking down on him, now we get to do so literally, which is a fun thought. But unfortunately, no, there are no consequences for him. I guess what we can hope for is that his legacy remains that of a broken man who spent his life ruining other people's lives in the name of Jesus. And I think one of the amazing things about Pat Robertson is that I don't think I've heard his name mentioned even in Christian media since he died 2 years ago. Like, no one says, hey, remember when Pat Robertson did this thing?
100%.
No one.
He vanished.
For all the power he amassed during his life, even Christians have been relatively quick to move past him. Dobson had this stronghold over Christian culture for decades. And based on things I have seen in reacting to his death, it sounds like even Christians who may have liked his stuff, they don't seem like, yeah, let's hang on to this dude for life.
Why do you think that is?
Because his legacy is not one that made anyone's life better. His legacy is generations of children who don't want a relationship with their shitty parents.
But since when is that something that Christians are turned off by?
Right. I think even conservative Christians are like, well, sure, I want to dominate my family, patriarchal culture too. But even they're like, I'm going to do it in a different way. Dobson's advice has not aged well. I can figure out how to perpetuate. They're not abandoning what he taught. They're abandoning him as the guy they want to look up to. Right? So I'm not going to listen to him, but I'll listen to some other conservative, batshit crazy person.
Sure.
So this guy weaponized family and sexuality and politics. He's not the first. He won't be the last. But this guy taught parents to break the spirits of their children. He taught husbands to treat their wives as disposable vessels. He taught Christians that fear and control were virtues. And again, those things haven't gone away. But I don't think this guy wants to leave. I don't think James Dobson is going to be spoken of highly, even if the ideas haven't entirely gone away. One of the things Kristen Kobes-Dumais wrote in her book, Jesus and John Wayne, is that James Dobson, quote, corrupted a faith and fractured a nation. Which is short but sweet. That's a good thing to put on his tombstone.
Fair. And I think the kind of thinking he has, this very aggressively patriarchal thinking, it sort of spiraled out. The other day I drove past, and I don't do it often, drove past that place where the Duggars church used to go in Hinsdale, Illinois. Okay. There's like this huge building that was like the headquarters of the Duggars Quiverful movement. And every time I see it, I think of the moment in the documentary Shiny Happy People, the first season, when one of the young women was saying that it clicked in her head that she realized their religion is teaching men to start their own little mini cults. And so have all of these children, so they have 12 or 15 followers or whatever. And to me, this all feels like of a piece of like, I am the person in charge and my will goes no matter what that will might be. It's truly something I think about so much, of the idea of like people having children so they have somebody to control feels terrifying and fruitless because children are nuts.
All right. Any other thoughts about him before I move on to a different thing?
Nope.
All right.
Probably won't think about him ever again. Oh, Focus on the Family is the one that also became the church. Did he have anything to do with that?
I think he was gone, but Focus
gone?
on the Family has since rebranded not as a nonprofit, which they are, but as a church specifically, even though they're not a church. Why? Because it allows them to hide their finances from the IRS. And a lot of they're not the only Christian ministry to do that, but the IRS is letting them get away with it.
Yep. Oh, boy. Good riddance.
All right. Let's talk about something totally different here.
All right.
If you know anything about the Jehovah's Witnesses, tell me what you know about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate things.
They don't celebrate birthdays.
They don't believe in blood transfusions.
That's correct.
It's actually a largely black community, which I didn't know until pretty recently.
There are a outsized number of black people percentage-wise among Jehovah's Witnesses. That. But yeah, like, was it Serena Williams?
Oh.
I think Venus Williams. I think that family's Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, are they?
But anyway, one of the things that maybe is less familiar.
Donald Glover grew up Jehovah's Witness, yeah.
They're discouraged from obtaining a higher education. Not in the sense of like evangelical Christians who are like, no, you can go to college even if you're a woman, but go to a Christian college. They very much are like, just don't go to college. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
And
what are you going to learn at college that you can't learn in your kitchen?
Yeah. In 2017, the Pew Research Center found that only 9% of Jehovah's Witnesses had an undergraduate degree, which is the lowest of any religious group that was studied.
What's average? 30%?
I think the average was closer to 30. Yeah. And then depending on which group you're looking at, atheists have a higher percentage. Hindus have a higher percentage. Jewish people, higher percentage. But 9% of witnesses. And the problem with this has been a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, believers, they have struggled to find higher paying jobs to support their families. And like, for what it's worth, Jehovah's Witnesses don't necessarily have a problem with trade schools or religious schools. And they have their own religious school. Like, I think it's called Bethel.
I've heard of that.
There is an evangelical version of that using the same word, but they have their own version of like a college. But basically, secular universities are out of the question if you're a Jehovah's Witness.
And this is men and women?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's so many stories online from people who say, I was a great student in high school and I had scholarships. I had an athletic scholarship. I had a academic scholarship to go to this great school, but I had to say no because I'm not supposed to go to college.
Yeah.
They basically treat higher education as spiritually dangerous because it's going to distract you from worshiping God. If you learn about science or you have non-JW friends on campus, you're going to be steered away from your faith.
Do you have a sense of what a lot of people in Jehovah's Witnesses do? Are they like are there a lot of people in like white collar jobs? Probably not. Are they more blue collar? Do they, you know what I mean?
I think a lot of them have low paying jobs that probably a friend hooked them up with because again, they don't have the resume to get a job on their own a lot of the time.
Like Amish people, they often train horses and like that's how they do and have an income without having to kind of participate. Do you have any like do they like have little cottage industries is what I'm not expecting.
I'm sure they do, but I'm sure it's in the trades. And again, that would be fine if they're making money from that. The problem is a lot of them are not making that much money and they can't move up because of whatever situation they're in. And by the way, another reason the Jehovah's Witnesses discourage college is because one of their beliefs is the end of the world's going to happen any minute now. So like, just wait. Are you better off spending your time going door to door and winning converts, which is what they do, or like going to college and learning for something you're not going to need because the world's going to end soon.
Yeah,
we're all going up to paradise.
Just maybe last week I got a Jehovah's Witness thing. We've had people at the door. It's been
fun.
Pretty fun. They're on Michigan Avenue all the time.
Oh. So
why is that one of their tenets is like obviously recruitment is important. That's got to be a hard sell. Like, join our religion. Oh, what do you bring? Well, you can't celebrate anything, and I hope you don't get sick.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So a few years ago, there was a training video for the elders in the religion who are like regular people who attend like a Kingdom Hall, their church-like thing. But like you're a special man, so we want to raise you to the level of a leader. You're an elder now, so you got to handle like church business. Right? So there was a training video for the elders that got leaked online.
Great.
And in this video, there's basically a staged scenario where they have like one guy he's like the franchisee overseer, and they have a couple franchisee owners right there, the other elders. And they have another elder, a fourth elder, who has to come in for a meeting because he's done something very wrong. They call him Brother Brown. That's his name. And the reason they need to talk to him, the three other elders and this overseer, is because Brother Brown's daughters have decided to go to college.
Oh, Brother Brown, what have you done?
I know. And in this video, I would play it for you, but it's like 5.5 minutes. In this video, the fellow elders say, listen, you have told others in the congregation that you just want to give your daughters the best life possible and that higher education is a part of that. And this is negatively affecting the congregation.
And Brother
in fact,
Ben,
someone else's daughter is now thinking about going to college. I know. And they actually use the word deletion. We may have to kick you out of the eldership.
Did you say deletion?
And the way they do it is, sir, you are facing a deletion. As an elder for this apostasy.
That is truly some sci-fi fantasy weirdness. You'll be deleted.
And the funny thing is that when I'm watching this video, and this is true about all the videos they play for everything, the actors, I don't know what the deal is with the actors in this video. It's so NPC, you have no personality, you don't sound like a human. And I'm watching this video. The guy playing Brother Brown is the only normal dude in the bunch.
Funny.
Where he's like, yeah, I want my kids to have a better life. What is the problem here? We are all believers. Why are you all mad at... Like, he sounds defensive and normal. And the other dudes are like, brother, I know you're upset by this. This also makes us upset.
Did they all take Valium right before?
Pretty
and
much.
Didn't let him in?
Pretty much.
That is so creepy.
That was a training video for how do you deal with some shit like this.
I forgot this was a training video. Oh my God, I thought we were watching real life.
Here's how you handle shit like Brother Brown and how you kick him out with respect. Anyway.
One of my hobbies with my friend Leslie is that we seek out people with really dead eyes. We'll take a picture of it.
Oh, there you go. That's not creepy.
No, not at all. Man, some people, it's just nothing back there, huh?
In 2023, one of their Jehovah's Witness governing body members, he made a video where he compared higher education to a school of hungry sharks. And you're better off, like, let's say you're you're swimming and there's a bunch of sharks around you. What if you knew the survival rate was like 80%? Would you go swimming if you knew the survival rate was 80%?
Is he saying 80% of college students die before
Here's
they graduate?
Here's what he says. You probably would not take that risk, would you? Go swimming if you knew only 80% of people survive? He says, you probably wouldn't take that risk, would you? Well, that's the point. For those who try to swim through and survive spiritually, the figurative school of hungry sharks of higher education, probably the survival rate is not even as good as in our illustration.
First of all,
it's a strained analogy.
He's deeply underestimating people's desire for adrenaline rushes. I say this as a person who jumps horses and falls a lot and still gets up and is like, yeah, I'm going to get on this stupid horse again.
This is another video I wanted to play for you. I won't do it right now because no one can see it. But if you watch this man, do you remember Heaven's Gate, Marshall Applewhite?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Like his face was rubbery and movie. And it's like, this is not how normal people talk. That's this dude, and that's exactly
kind of a little Max Headroom in there. Just sort of like...
So here's why I'm bringing all this up.
No, I want to keep digging on it.
Here's why we're talking about this. Yeah. Because last Friday, one of the other governing body members, his name is David Splain,
It's David Splain.
I know. But he issued a new update that got sent out to all the Jehovah's Witnesses everywhere.
Can't wait.
They literally do like product upgrades for their religion. They're like, guys, some new shit is incoming.
That's very Scientology of them.
And they said in an update that they're basically taking it back.
No.
Yes, here's what he said.
You're lying.
I will tell you, is it appropriate for Christians to pursue additional education? With this update, we would like to clarify our understanding.
Clarify, not change our minds.
You heard me. While there are dangers involved in pursuing certain forms of education, basically, whether to obtain additional education or not is a matter for personal decision. And while an elder or a mature friend may discuss with us the pros and cons about obtaining additional education, no Christian, including the elders, should judge a fellow Christian's personal decision on this matter.
Well, I will say the whole judge not lest ye be judged thing has not worked great in the last few years for the Christians. So I'm not optimistic that people's hearts and minds are going to be changed.
Yeah.
But color me surprised.
Right? Like,
how often do we cover a lot of religions changing their mind about a lot of things, and so infrequently is it to make things slightly better.
Now, keep in mind, notice how they framed a couple of this stuff. They're not talking about higher education.
They are very vague.
They're saying additional education, but that does include secular college.
Do they encourage people to drop out of high school?
No, they're fine with kids going to high school.
So high school is fine.
You need a high school education.
Well, otherwise, you can't get a job.
Right. And this is the thing. Like, we'll talk about this in a second. Why might they be doing this? One reason is, oh, shit, all of our undereducated people are not pulling in a lot of money, which means we're not getting a lot of money. So if you can get a higher paying job, that's more money to the religion.
Oh, that's a pretty cynical way to look at life. But
I know. But
we've been paying attention.
They did not apologize. Of course they didn't. They did not explain why they made this sudden U-turn. It's just a clarification. You guys, some of you have been for decades now thinking we don't want you to go to college, and you've revolved your entire life around that. We just wanted to update you and say, you guys, we're fine with that.
Is this directly on the back of releasing that video?
Which video?
The training video where it was Brother Brown.
Years old, couple years old, and someone leaked it online. But that was from, I think, 2021.
Oh, okay. So that the leak
has nothing to do with
old.
It. I just want to point out, when they say we're just clarifying something we've always believed, but some of you may have questions about it. No. Like, that training video says higher education is a problem.
It's bad.
And here's an elder who allowed his kids to go to college.
Brother Brown bullshit.
Right. So it's like you're not explaining that one.
This.
They also say, what else are they getting at? Like, on one hand, it's good. I'm glad they're reversing, even if they won't admit it.
Right.
On the other hand, this is where it gets heartbreaking. So many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and current ones are pissed. So there is an ex-Jehovah Witness subreddit. And on there, let me read to you some of the comments they had.
The XJWs are intense, and rightly so,
yes.
But they're an intense
group. This is what
group.
they said in response to this update.
Oh, God. I didn't even think about they'd be mad.
Mm-hmm. Came 35 fucking years too fucking late for me. Imagine if you were a kid that just gave up a scholarship this past year for the org. This update has me beyond disgusted. Because of these clowns in New York, where their headquarters are, I never pursued nursing school and now struggle to make ends meet. All of a sudden, they want to cherry pick the Bible and decide that it's okay.
Cherry pick the Bible.
I mean, yeah. That's just religion for you.
Well, yeah. No, I'm curious how many of these people are mad because they lost out on a better life, and how many are mad because they changed their mind and like, how dare you flip flop?
Both. Here's one. I had 9 academic scholarships when I graduated. I don't know how much I believe this, but there you go. I had 9 academic scholarships when I graduated high school. I was pretty much guaranteed a scholarship to UCLA if I started playing for my high school. 9 guys from my school got into the NFL, and I was faster and stronger than all of them. Up until the time that I became disabled, I only worked in call center jobs. 20 plus years of customer service technical support is what this guy did for his life. I still wonder every now and then how different my life could have been if I had continued my education. Which, all right, I'm sure everyone thinks they can be in the NFL, but the point is...
I'm sorry, 8 people from his high school went on to the NFL. I'm calling bullshit on that. And I was bigger and stronger and faster and smarter than all of them.
Sometimes in Texas, you never know. Here's one that seems realistic. I turned down a scholarship. I am horrified. My parents are in their 70s, and they and I are all below the poverty level. I am having difficulty processing my rage today.
Like, what could you do?
Yeah. I also went to a forum for practicing Jehovah's Witnesses, and one person wrote this. This would have been great for me to hear 20 years ago when I was a young honor student from a poor family, but it's too late now. All that sacrifice and struggle just to hear it's okay now. I don't know what to say. Now, that person was an anomaly on that particular thread, because many of the true believers just rationalize the change, just saying, wow, isn't it nice of Jehovah to clarify this for the overseers so they could help us out? Like, because the alternative is admitting even the governing body was wrong the entire time, which means Jehovah was wrong this whole time, and that is not an option. So they're not going to explain why they made this change, but you can understand the theories. Young people are leaving the faith, and they need a way to make the religion more palatable.
Yeah.
Parents without degrees have a hard time making the case to their own kids why they should follow in their footsteps.
Right. Look how happy we are.
Yeah. People with college degrees obviously make more money, which they can donate to the organization. One commenter suggested, quote, they need more free lawyers to defend their asses in court.
That's extremely funny.
Yeah. I also wonder what the fallout's going to be. Like, I know Brother Brown is fictional in that video, but like, what happens to guys like him who are kicked out of their leadership roles because they said exactly what the witnesses are saying now?
But they said it too early.
So it's not just a policy reversal, it's a confession of spiritual abuse that they're pretending is progress. Because what did they do for generations? The leadership of the Jehovah's Witnesses, they crushed members' ambitions, sabotaged their futures.
Took away their birthday parties.
They told parents that sending your kids to a secular college was a betrayal of the faith. They shamed young people into ignoring scholarships that they had earned.
I forgot about the secular college piece of it. So that's they didn't clarify at all. So college is college is college.
They didn't say anything more than what I told you.
Ooh, that's rough stuff.
Yeah. And so now, with no apology and no accountability, they just say additional education is a personal choice, as if decades of dismantled livelihoods and lost dreams were just a misunderstanding.
And honestly, the fact that there is a big Black population is, to me, so much worse. Of like, a traditionally impoverished people are being encouraged to not seek higher education by their church feels fucking insidious to me.
Yeah. And I mean, we know why they said this for decades, because they were opposed to education, because education might lead to independence. Independence gets in the way of your ability to control them. So they needed to keep their flock undereducated and underpaid and dependent, all while preaching this is what Jehovah wanted, and now they're pivoting. Yeah. They don't give a damn about people wondering where this advice was back then. They're just like, we're all good now, right? Cool, let us carry on.
Well, isn't it interesting that, like, you know, the 50s, 60s, when people were making living wages and had unions and things like that, they're like, yeah, you don't need education. Let's all, like, be stupid together. And then now that the economy has left them behind, they're their deeply held beliefs change slightly when economics demand.
I also never liked this assumption that if you go to a secular college, you are learning something that can't possibly be useful to your future.
I guess there's also an argument that like learning about science is learning more about God and how God that's how you worship is you are trying to discover its secrets or whatever.
Yeah, then you wonder but if they studied engineering or they studied to become some other profession,
an architect and build churches.
Yeah, or a teacher or whatever, they're not learning anything about God one way or the other. People lose their faith or gain it in college. It's up to them. Not everything at a secular college is about God doesn't exist. Like God's Not Dead is not a documentary. That's not how it works.
I would argue they're more concerned about interacting with people who are not
and realizing they're not monsters.
Yeah, which, I don't know, we're not really helping that.
Totally different story here.
All right.
There's a Republican named Valentina Gomez.
Ooh.
She is batshit crazy.
Great. Great name. Great intro. Excited to meet her.
That's all you're going to get in terms of good stuff.
Okay.
I think 2 years ago, she ran in Missouri as Secretary of State on a whim. She doesn't
Just for funsies?
Just for funsies. And in the Republican primary, she ranked 6th out of 8.
Okay.
Why? Because she's batshit crazy.
She's cuckoo bananas crazy pants.
So what did she do after losing that race?
Accused people of cheating.
Probably.
Okay.
But she moved to Texas because she's like, oh, they don't like me in Missouri. You know where I can go where my personality will be appreciated.
Missouri is the Texas of the Midwest, isn't it?
Certain parts. Well, she moved to Texas and she's now running for Congress in the 31st District of Texas.
Where is that? Can you give me a general?
Nope.
Is it near any cities?
It's super red. That's what I can tell you.
Okay.
So she's like, if I win the Republican nomination in this district, the seat's as good as mine. So what did she do this week to promote her campaign?
Went out and shot an immigrant.
Close.
Tell me.
She put a copy of the Qur'an on a little backyard barbecue thing.
Oh, no,
then
she didn't.
Put a flamethrower to it.
You know, when people have all these big guns and these flamethrowers and all this shit, in these giant trucks, where are they getting all this money? A flamethrower has to be expensive.
It looks like something out of the video game Doom.
I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know those are big and expensive and hot, according to Leo.
Here's what she said. Here's the full campaign ad for her. Your daughters will be raped and your sons beheaded unless we stop Islam once and for all. We're done turning the other cheek. Remember, David did not pray for Goliath. He killed them. America is a Christian nation, so those terrorist Muslims can fuck off to any of the 57 Muslim nations. There is only one true God, and that is the God of Israel. Flamethrower, flamethrower. Then she sets the book on fire, and the video ends with a pink screen that has her name, and she's running for Congress.
Millennial pink? Is it bubblegum pink?
Look. Okay. And then in the middle of that pink screen that has her name, what else does it say? What else does it say? Tell the people what her campaign says.
It says, powered by Jesus Christ.
Yep, with a Jesus fish underneath it.
Which is funny.
Yes. So
powered by Jesus Christ. I love it. I love the millennial pink. I love the minimalist aesthetic of it. I love the flamethrower.
She was so good for the last half second of that. So to get the obvious out of the way, equating all Muslims to terrorists, which is exactly what she is doing.
Correct.
Is obviously blatant bigotry. America's not a Christian nation. God doesn't exist. And if you're using a flamethrower on one book, it's overkill. There are easier ways to do that.
Well, not buy it in the first place. I think would have been step one for me.
I did wonder where she got it from.
She got it on Amazon. She did.
I don't particularly care about the burning of a book. That's not a crime. Same with Trump being like, don't burn the American flag. I don't give a shit. What is disturbing
Why is he saying don't burn the American flag?
Because he thinks if you burn a flag, you're not patriotic, and the First Amendment doesn't apply if you're doing a thing I don't like.
Oh.
Anyway, what's disturbing is her stated justification for it, because she is a far greater threat to society than any of the Muslims. She's slandering Muslims
because she's going to murder people.
Yeah, Muslims who, by the way, represent roughly 2% of Texans.
Of Texan overall is 2% Muslim?
Yep, and that's probably rounding up.
Astoundingly low.
Yeah, so I think what she wants to do, she wants this symbolic act of hate to inspire others to commit actual hate crimes by dehumanizing her perceived enemies. By the way, earlier this year, Muslims held an event at the Texas Capitol, peaceful event outside the Capitol. They got the permits or whatever. She covered herself up in a hijab, a makeshift hijab, and then when she got permission to go up in front of the podium to speak, which somehow they didn't stop her because she thought she was part of their group, she then screamed more racist bile into the microphone.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And how did that go for her?
She was escorted out quickly. And then she used that video to promote herself again.
Because she was the victim?
Clearly. When she ran for Secretary of State in Missouri in 2024, she used that same flamethrower on LGBTQ books. She only has the one move. And
yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, flamethrowers have to be expensive. And then, she has to get her use out of it.
And then after losing that primary in Missouri, she then posted a video, not running for anything, where she just had a crash test dummy sitting in a chair, and then she shot it with a gun, and that was a mock execution of a supposedly law-breaking immigrant.
This woman should not have access to firearms.
Yeah. By the way,
where did she get a crash test dummy?
Dude, I don't know. Where did she get the flamethrower?
Must be the same store.
I know.
There can't be more than one person who will just sell a civilian a flamethrower and a crash test dummies. Those have to be expensive.
Yeah. By the way, where is she from?
Missouri.
No.
Oh.
Colombia. She's an immigrant.
How fucking dare you? How dare you?
So,
how dare you leave that for the end?
She is a failed clout-chasing
carpetbagger.
carpetbagger.
This is canceled, this show. I'm so betrayed.
Here's what she's actually doing. Do I think she's going to win this primary in Texas? I mean, it could happen. It's Texas. But there is an incumbent Republican congressman who won pretty comfortably last time he ran, and he's running for re-election. There's no reason to think he's not going to just win the primary again.
So do you think that's like Pablo Escobar's flamethrower and crash test dummy? Did she get one of his hippos, too? You know there's wild hippos in Colombia because of Pablo Escobar?
If she has one, it will not last for long.
Well, it's hungry.
Uh-huh. Well done.
Thank you.
So the thing is, what's she doing? Is she going to win any of these seats? Probably not. But
we're
knows,
talking about her.
But she knows, right? She wants attention, and she knows that if you get attention as a Republican failure who does outlandish things, if you don't become Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Fox News correspondent,
you could become the next Riley Gaines, who's still coasting off of I tied a trans person for 5th place in a swimming thing.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm the most famous Fox News loser.
Boy, can you believe that women's swimming has come under this kind of scrutiny?
It hasn't. It's like the Cracker Barrel logo. No one actually cares about it,
what
but Republicans make it into a big thing.
Fuck is going on with Cracker Barrel, Hammett?
I thought you would know. You're the one that eats at those places.
First of all, I think I've only eaten at a Cracker Barrel once. There is one near me. It's just not to my taste. Was it genuinely just a logo change, or did they Did they redo it? And
I think they were trying to modernize it, so they had a logo that no one would have cared about.
Yeah.
But days later, the right-wing people are like, what can we get mad about to distract everyone from the Epstein files?
We need to get on that outrage train. There has to be something we can do that is as low stakes as a logo change.
Yes.
But will get us the foot traffic of an angry Cracker Barrel ex-customer.
Yes, get on that.
Yeah,
let me know when you
everybody
figure that
brainstorm what we can do. Would it be? Oh boy, I can't even think of anything.
That's why they're not hiring you, but they will hire Valentina Gomez.
Yeah, that's a good point. Valentina Gomez.
Yeah, so she's a grifter.
What a character! I can't wait to see her movie.
It's so disgusting, the stuff she's doing. It's just a race to the bottom among Republicans to see who can offer the most grotesque displays of religious bigotry.
She said it was... Did she say it was an illegal immigrant that she mock executed or just an immigrant?
I'm pretty sure a law-breaking migrant is what she was going for.
Cool.
Yes. So anyway,
So
that's what
things are cool in Texas as per usual.
Yeah, one thing that bugs me is that Democrats elected.
Just the
there's
one
many
thing.
things, but elected Democrats have to every time they do interviews, they get asked about some random stupid shit that some random stupid college kid said during a protest. And it's like, do you denounce what this idiot said somewhere? And they're like, the fuck are you talking about? I don't even know. And sometimes they legitimately should respond, and other times like, why is this elected Democrat why is Kamala Harris responsible for what some random idiot said on Twitter somewhere?
Truly.
But Republicans don't have to answer for what a Republican candidate for Congress in their party is doing.
Because I don't care.
Yeah.
Because we're playing two different games. And this is, I know, I understand I am wrong, but I don't want Democrats to do the same race to the bottom, and I understand why I'm wrong in thinking that and why that. But I just deep inside my gut, it feels so terrible to want our representatives to pull this same kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I just don't want those people representing me, and I think that's why we're in this position in the first place.
It has been very interesting to watch. I mean, Gavin Newsom, who I don't like, but doing the shit I do like, which is just trolling the shit out of Trump and making Republicans angry.
Right.
Meanwhile, Pritzker, our governor, is relatively calm and just says the right stuff, but doesn't do the showy stuff.
Right.
I am curious when both of them announce that they're running for president.
I don't want Pritzker to
When
run for
they
president.
do it, I wonder which of those playbooks will win out. And I hope it's someone like Pritzker. And I hope
I would love a president, JB Pritzker. In a very selfish way,
don't leave us.
Don't leave me. And honestly, like I've said a lot of times, I have a bunch of friends who live in Kentucky, and they're doing the same thing. They love Andy Bashir.
Yeah.
And are concerned.
And Bashir will also run, I'm sure.
Of course he's going to run.
He's term limited out, I believe.
This is me being woefully naive. In general, say Pritzker, Newsom, whoever I just said, Bashir are all going to run. Do they necessarily have to not run for their governorship? Do they have to step down to run for president?
If you're running for president, you probably won't be
It's a full-time
able to
job.
be governor. So I would assume. But I mean, Tim Walz ran as Minnesota's governor, and he was still governor after they lost the race.
That's
So he
a good
didn't have
point.
to resign until he would have won.
Okay.
And so he didn't win, so he's still governor there.
Okay, that doesn't make me feel as terrible then.
Let me go to a totally different story. This happened more recently. It's less severe than all this other stuff, but important nonetheless. This is an update on a story we did a while back. Okay, let me go back in time first to explain what the hell we're talking about.
Back in time.
Yes, in 2023, 2 years ago, Minnesota, Tim Walz is governor. He was not running as vice president at the time. They passed their 2-year budget, which is what they do there. It's like a big $72 billion budget. And in it, there was a small provision regarding a special program in the state. It's called the Post-Secondary Enrollment Options Act, PSEO. Okay. Post-Secondary Enrollment Options.
PSEO.
There you go. So what this program does is since 1985, it's basically Minnesota's version of saying, if you want to take college-level classes in high school, we'll give you credit for it, like the Advanced Placement Program, International Baccalaureate Program. It's the Minnesota version of that. And what it does is it says if you want to take college classes in high school, you can get credit for it if you go to a state school later on.
Sure.
So fine. So students
like
in
AP
those
courses, kind of.
Basically, but AP is privately run. This is a state-run program. Yeah. It's a privately run program, but a lot of colleges are fine with it. So if you get an AP credit, it doesn't matter where you're applying to school. But this is specifically for Minnesota if you're planning to stay in state.
Okay.
So students enrolled in those classes, they get their tuition and books and fees covered by the institutions. So you could take these classes for free, and they're reimbursed by the state for the students taking those classes.
Great.
And they're expected to do college-level work, and they're also supposed to meet the admission standards of the schools that are offering the classes.
Okay.
Like if you have to take a prerequisite to take this college, if you have to meet certain standards, you're supposed to do it.
I feel like we've talked about this,
We have.
But I can't for the life of me figure out why it's relevant to us.
So And if they get a good grade, it counts as college credit. It's great for high-achieving students who want to save tuition dollars, especially if they're planning to go to a state school. Or if you're not, you just want to know what a college-level class is like, what the rigor is like. It's good to take it, too. So one article from 2023 said that one Minnesota State University graduate said he saved $20,000 by having taken nearly 80 PSEO credits.
Jesus Christ.
He basically got a year of tuition covered that way. He could skip a year of college. And that when you included scholarship money, his college degree has cost him very little.
Great.
Fantastic. In 2020 alone, over 10,000 students took over 170,000 credits of classes, and the state paid out just over $36 million in reimbursements.
Okay.
That's how powerful this program is. So, 2023, Tim Walz signs the budget. They include a little provision about this program. What does it say? Here's what they added. I'll read the whole thing to you.
Okay.
An eligible institution must not require a faith statement from a secondary student seeking to enroll in a post-secondary course under this section during the application process, or base any part of the admission decision on a student's race, creed, ethnicity, disability, gender, or sexual orientation, or religious beliefs or affiliations. So there's two things there.
Okay.
If you are a religious school, you can participate in the program. You could say, hey, we're a Christian school, but we offer Chinese 1. That's a real class that one of these schools was offering. Yeah. Kids can enroll. You will get reimbursed for offering that class.
Sure.
But even if your college says, hey, kids, you have to sign a faith statement saying, I love Jesus,
I want to have
marriages
sex
between one man and one woman,
Yeah.
you can't make the kids sign that when they're in high school
'Cause they're
to take your
minors.
Chinese 1 class.
Yeah.
And also, even if your college says trans kids are not allowed to apply here because we don't think you exist,
Sure.
or anything like that, you can't do that because it violates our state's non-discrimination laws. That's
Okay.
what the provision was in the budget. It passed.
And Christians are big mad.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So when we talked about this a couple of years ago, basically 2 schools in the state, the school's name's University of Northwestern St. Paul, not connected to the Northwestern in Illinois. So Northwestern St. Paul and Crown College, they're both private Christian schools, smaller schools. They sued the state saying these new provisions are unconstitutional. And what they said is the faith statements simply ask students to affirm the school's religious beliefs for the purpose of upholding their Christian communities. Minnesota's sudden change to the law hurts students who want to attend schools that uphold their religious values, which seems like
That
bullshit.
doesn't make any sense.
It did not. And their
And
argument...
are these in-person classes or are they online?
They can be both.
Both,
They
okay.
might be in person, they might be virtual. But the argument they were saying is you're offering a program that applies to all institutions of higher learning that want to participate, so you can't exclude us for being religious. Minnesota's response is we're
didn't
not
exclude
excluding
you.
Yeah, we're not excluding you. You can participate.
You just can't
and
bully
these
children.
are the ground rules that apply to everybody.
Right.
No discriminating against students if you want the reimbursement.
Right.
And you can't make students sign a religious pledge to you, even if you want to do that at your college.
Because frankly, they said in fine print, it's kind of
Yeah.
weird anyway, gang.
Now, both schools said, listen, our statements of faith, they only apply to students who take classes on campus because virtually no one cares. But if you're taking a class on campus, yeah, you're on our building, you're on our property, you got to sign the faith statement because otherwise you might, I don't know, have sex on the quad. You're 14, I don't know what you're doing. But that does mean if you're taking a course that one of these schools ran, like beginning Chinese 1, but you're taking it on campus, you have to agree to the no sex before marriage rules. It's weird.
It truly is so deeply, deeply weird, and also such a sign of the times that the fact that this school can't make children sign a little like oath to them. Gang, that's a weird thing to ask people to do, to sign a little oath to you. I wouldn't sign an oath to almost
In
anybody.
blood, too. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I barely wanted to make an oath to my husband.
Northwestern St. Paul later said, listen, the sex rules, even if you're coming on campus, the sex rules don't apply to we're not going to discriminate against LGBTQ students who take our class on campus.
So brave.
Presumably because they said
They
we
won't
only
have gay sex in the classroom.
Right. They're like, we only have a problem with people who act on their desires. And if you're in high school, we're not even doing that. So like,
well, famously, high schoolers do not have sex.
Never. Right. So basically the right-wing legal group, Beckett, they're the ones representing the schools in this lawsuit. They said, listen, the Supreme Court has consistently and recently affirmed that public benefits that are open to private secular organizations must also be open to religious ones. Which again, Minnesota's response is, you are able to participate.
I feel like you're not listening to me, friend.
Yeah. So anyway, no one pushed them out. There were several faith-based colleges in Minnesota that were not suing over the budget because they were not going to discriminate against students who were not in lockstep with their beliefs. In fact, there were only 2 schools that had an anti-gay statement of faith that they wanted students to sign, and it was the one suing the state.
Truly,
but these schools, I mean, they had good reason to sue because since 2017, Northwestern St. Paul has gotten over $33 million in reimbursements from this program, while Crown has gotten about $6 million. So at the time when the lawsuit was filed, there is a secular government caucus in Minnesota, launched by 4 Democratic, whatever their party is there. They said the state is not restricting these schools from practicing their religious beliefs in any manner. It's merely prohibiting them from using state PSEO dollars to exclude high school students. ... Most of the religiously affiliated colleges that participate in the PSEO program have not excluded PSEO students, and they are not involved in this lawsuit. Basically saying, what the fuck are you talking about?
This is
okay. The Freedom from Religion Foundation, they filed an amicus brief in this case saying, hey, court, side with the state here. We're not involved in this case, but we have a take on it. And basically what they said is Minnesota's law is neutral when it comes to non-discrimination. They're not going after Christian schools. And by the way, the state has a significant interest in not perpetuating discrimination in a state-run program. So they said, hey, judge, here are the legal reasons you should go with the state and not the Christian school. And my opinion, Christian schools should not be able to have it both ways here.
Yeah.
If you want state money, you got to agree to the state's rules or don't participate in the program. That's it.
Because they're not asking for equality. They're asking for an exception for their special rule.
Yes. So last Friday, a district judge, her name is Nancy Brazel. She's a Trump-appointed judge who, by the way, was nominated as a federal judge by Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar. But she ruled in favor of the Christian schools, saying that the law forbidding all these schools from making students sign faith statements is unconstitutional. And then she said, oh, by the way, because that amendment to the budget...
It's unconstitutional to make me sign something that dedicates my life to you in order to obtain an education when I'm 14.
She also said that because the non-discrimination rule was tied to the faith statement rule, the entire amendment has to go. So in essence, she echoed what the Supreme Court has said. You don't have to give taxpayer dollars to private schools, but if you open it up to private schools, you can't exclude religious schools even if they have their own stupid rules. And at one point, the state argued, we're not trying to target religious schools. In fact, but the judge said, you are going after religious schools. And let me show you this stupid thing she said. By the way, here's how proud I am of this. I was reading through her decision. I'm like, this is a really fucking dumb thing to say. And I raised that. Oh, I didn't even mention that. I'm like, hey, FFRF, do you have any statement in terms of what the lawsuit said? And they wrote back, yeah, here's our statement in response to this ruling. And they asked me at the end, hey, by the way, did you notice this weird thing she said on this page? I'm like, yes, I did. That's to both sides here.
Oh, my God.
We're both like, this is really dumb, right? Okay, so again, she is saying the amendment in the budget does go after religious schools, and here's her analogy. An illustration is helpful. Northwestern St. Paul requires PSEO applicants to agree to a declaration of Christian community by which applicants attest to honor Christ, seek Christ-centered community, and stand together against all that the Bible clearly condemns. Such an admissions requirement is facially prescribed by the faith statement ban. So Minnesota's law is saying you can't do that. You can't make kids sign that. Now, says the judge, consider a hypothetical, secular, private college that participates in this program. If that secular school required all PSEO applicants attest to honor reason, seek reason-centered community, and stand together against all that rationalism clearly condemns, such an admissions requirement would also basically be banned by your faith statement ban.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's correct. Because
no, she's not correct.
Oh.
And the reason is, first of all, no secular school is like, we want you to honor reason.
Which isn't like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what point she's trying to make because nobody is doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
The religious
That's
declaration.
stupid.
The religious declaration excludes anybody who isn't Christian, while the fictional secular declaration she made up excludes nobody.
Yeah, that's a
because
good
if you're
point.
not interested in reason, why are you even seeking a higher education? And more importantly, you could be a Christian or any religious person who applies to a secular school, and you could be like, yeah, I support reason. Like, I do it in my religious way. But like, yeah, I support reason and a reason-centered community. That's why I want to pursue an education.
But
that
also
doesn't.
not going to make anybody take a fucking oath.
Yeah,
Like, it's so creepy.
The point is, like, and by the way, she says in a footnote, a devout Christian PSEO applicant would be discriminated against at this secular school.
So she's, first of all, admitting that Christians are inherently unreasonable.
She is.
Which is neat.
She is.
Which is a fun piece of business.
But again, she's wrong about that because, again, there are plenty of devout Christians who attend public universities and they will tell you, and I disagree, but who cares? They will tell you, there's nothing about my faith that stands in opposition to science and reason. They have their way of doing it. But even when she's trying to make the case that the Minnesota law is discriminating against religious schools, she can't do it with her own analogy. So, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I
Right
assume
now,
there's another.
What
is there another
happens
appeal?
now is no one's going to appeal this. I'm guessing.
So what does it mean?
What it means is those two Christian schools can still play the game. They can still get reimbursed for this program, and they can make students sign a faith statement if they want them to. It doesn't change that much other than, all right, I guess these two schools can continue participating in this program. But if lawmakers want to do anything, and I will say Republicans have like a one-seat advantage in one of the chambers, so it's not going to happen. What they could do is say, okay, PSEO money from now on only goes to public colleges and universities, but then all the religious schools would be shut out altogether. And
we don't want that.
They don't want that. And the judge noted there are 18 private schools that participate in the program, which is true, including the two ones we're talking about here. And some of them are actually the only geographic option for students who live in that part of the state. So if they want to attend classes on campus to take these classes, the only option they have is to go to a private religious school. And the state says, yeah, that's fine. We want you to get the credits. Go for it. So if they do it, there are downsides. But that is an option on the table. The question is it more important to Minnesota legislators to make this money available to as many students and schools as possible, even if that means including religious schools with strict rules about sex and LGBTQ people, or do they want to limit students' options in order to defend the principle of non-discrimination, even if that means cutting off some students who don't have any options left?
I don't know. It's wild to me that having minors attend college classes, which I don't have a problem with, obviously, but like nobody is like, hey, we need to make sure these kids are protected and don't get like taken advantage of by the older people who are now their peer. Like, it just feels like a weird thing to like sign this magic piece of paper. Otherwise you can't, like, do janitors have to sign it?
That's a debatable question because we've talked about, like, the Supreme Court has said, if someone hired on a religious at a religious institution is vital to your ministry's work.
Right, like that one janitor, literally, they said was like not apostate, that's the opposite.
Yeah. You're spreading the gospel.
Yes, exactly.
You're not allowed to be
Jesus.
whatever it is. Anyway,
Boy,
I don't think Minnesota's going to appeal this. FFRF did say if the state appeals, we will once again ask the appellate court to side with the state. So it's frustrating, but it does show you how far Christian schools are willing to go to take public funding while making sure they have their right to discriminate.
It really is.
They want taxpayer dollars, but they want to make sure you feel like shit in the process.
Well, they want you to take taxpayer dollars, but they have no interest in funding that system that they pull from. They're like, oh my God, I don't know. These people, like, to what end? Like, what is...
Oh, they want to control the world.
I just don't understand why people want to control other people so bad. Why do you care if I'm Christian and I'm taking your Chinese class? I'm going to be terrible at it anyway.
I got one last one. I figured we'd end on a high note. So I'm bringing up your favorite person.
Who?
Oklahoma's Ryan Walters. There you go. So Ryan Walters sued the Freedom from Religion Foundation a while back.
Cool.
And I know we talked about it, but it's been a while. Here's the situation. This started in 2018. Okay? FFRF heard that there's a place, Putnam City High School. They have a football team. It's in Oklahoma City. They had a team.
Where the spelling bee was?
They had a team chaplain who led the team in prayer. And this religious leader said in a local newspaper article, my goal is to share the gospel with them, which is not something you can do at a public school.
Subtle.
Yeah. And FFRF wrote a letter to the school saying, you can't have a team chaplain and you can't be doing this.
Right.
So like, hey, school, look into this matter. And if our allegations are right, and they are right, do something about it. And within a few weeks, they got a response from the district. And the district said basically, yeah, you were right about all of that. And they said, our athletic staff has been instructed that the practice of allowing access to and engaging in prayer before any game would cease immediately. Cool. So if the students want to pray on their own, no one's stopping them. But you can't have a team chaplain leading prayer or anything like that. So
wait, why is there a team chaplain?
Because Oklahoma. That's why. Okay. That was in 2018. Again, FFRF said, hey, you're doing something you can't be doing. Yeah. Maybe you don't know that, but we'll tell you why.
Yeah, please stop.
Look into it and tell us you're going to stop it. And the school said, yeah, okay, we're going to stop it. 2024, they found out that there was another school district called the Atchlee Public Schools, and they had a new policy allowing teachers to read Bible verses at the beginning of their classes.
Because what teachers have been champing at the bit for is more responsibility in the classroom.
And in at least one case, a teacher had a student read the Bible verses to the whole class. It's not secular, has nothing to do with the lesson plan, it's just straight up indoctrination. And it got worse.
And now biology.
The district apparently began the day with mandatory student-led prayers over the loudspeaker during morning announcements.
Cool, that's double down on there. Make the students do it and make all the other students do it.
This took place at the elementary school and the high school. So FFRF wrote a letter saying, listen, students can't even skip these prayers since they occur after the first period has already started. So again, we know what you're doing is wrong. We're telling you why it's wrong. Look into it. Tell us what you're going to do. And I think in a month or two later, they said the superintendent has assured us that, quote, after meeting with both building principals, I have made it clear that we want to make sure that no student is coerced into doing any religious activity. Which, all right, fine, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And FFRF's response to that is always, I know that's kind of a wishy-washy thing to say.
Sure.
But fine, I guess case closed for now unless we hear otherwise. Okay. And again, why do they do this? Why do they send a warning letter to these districts? Because hopefully the districts do exactly what these did. They write back and they say, we took care of it. And even if they're wishy-washy, FFRF's like, all right, I guess we're good. If they don't take care of it, they've now laid the groundwork for a possible lawsuit because they tried to ask nicely. The school district said no. They continued doing it. Now, if you file a lawsuit, you can tell the judge, listen, we warned them. Yeah. We explained the problem. They did not listen. Now we need you to step in. Thankfully, it did not come to that. Honestly, I don't work for FFRF. My understanding is most of the time that is what happens when they send a letter.
Because most people do not want to try to get to the Supreme Court.
And they honestly, in a lot of cases, they don't actually know what they're doing is illegal. They think, oh, the community wants this, let's do it. And they don't realize it's wrong. Okay, so in both situations, no lawsuit. The school district stopped it. At no point did FFRF say students cannot pray on their own, just that school-sponsored prayers are illegal. They reminded the district that, hey, I don't care what you heard about the Supreme Court lately. Nothing they've said negates what we are telling you right now.
Right.
And the districts clearly figured that out. Maybe they talked to their lawyers and they're like, oh, it turns out we were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So last April, Ryan Walters said in a video that he is suing the radical atheists because they were supposedly harassing students and teachers for freely expressing their religious beliefs.
He was suing the
FFRF,
radical atheists.
He is suing FFRF.
For harassing a school?
Yes. Here's what he said in his video about FFRF.
Just, the way you announce a lawsuit is via video,
over Twitter,
right?
Yeah. They're a group of radical atheists. I'm very curious. Are we non-radical atheists? Or what's the opposite of a radical atheist?
Oh, an apathetic atheist? Yeah. A nihilist, maybe?
Maybe. But I've never heard anyone who uses the phrase radical atheist or extreme atheist Describe to me what a good atheist would be like in your mind.
And I guess also atheism is kind of a binary too. Like it's like the word unique. You're either unique or you're not unique. You can't be more unique. You can't be a radical atheist. You are or you aren't.
Right. And he thinks every atheist is radical. So
which is honestly fine. Fine.
So there are a group of radical atheists that continue to attack our students and teachers in the state of Oklahoma.
Personally.
Well, never again. We're not going to allow them to harass our students and teachers for freely expressing their religious beliefs.
Is he jerking off while he makes this?
Underneath the camera, you can't see it.
And you can just see him shaking a little bit.
And then you see the, what was the movie in the background?
The movie. Oh my God, whatever that.
Was it Jackie Chan?
Yeah, that Jackie Chan movie.
So anyway, he said,
boy, we nailed that joke.
There you go. This lawsuit will continue to ensure that in Oklahoma, your rights will be protected. Our students and teachers can absolutely pray if that's what they choose to do. So freedom from religion, we will see you radical atheists in court. Now, what the hell is he talking about? What he did in the actual lawsuit is he said those letters that warned the public school districts that they were violating the law were violating the law. That was seriously his entire argument. He did not bother to explain why FFRF's complaints were wrong. He just said,
because they weren't.
He just said, my job is to protect individual religious freedom. And those warning letters, not lawsuits, warning letters, stifled the ability for students and teachers to practice their faith.
Stifle?
Yes. And he said the courts have to step in to stop FFRF's threatening and harassing behavior.
Wow. This man is so brave.
And this is what he said to defend what he was arguing. This is what Walters wrote. Supreme Court precedent has long recognized the secular value of religious texts, including the Bible in school settings, as well as the secular value of chaplains.
Sorry, no. I'm just going to say no, that's untrue, right?
I will admit there is secular value to religious texts. You can study the Bible secularly as a work of literature.
Again,
you can have chaplains if kids want to see them. That's not the issue here. Reciting Bible verses for the sake of indoctrination,
that's not
which is what they were doing in the district, or having a chaplain who leads the football team in prayer, which is not okay.
No.
That's what we're talking about. So what is Ryan Walters talking about? I don't know.
I can't do exactly what I want. It makes me big mad.
Yes. So Walters
how much money is this guy flushing down the toilet for the state of Oklahoma?
The Oklahoma Department of Education's attorney, her name is Jacqueline Phelps, she said FFRF is interfering with Walters and the Department of Education's statutory duty to oversee Oklahoma's public schools and their duty to implement curricular standards, investigate any complaints levied against an Oklahoma school, and advocate for its students and parents. That's what FFRF did to them.
I didn't hear anything.
No, none of that made sense.
Like none of that is anything. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. It's nothing.
When Walters announced this beyond the video on Twitter, in a press release, he said FFRF was trying to erase faith.
Wow.
Which news to me that the warning letters did that.
Good for them.
Yeah. Now, what annoyed me is that there were a handful of news articles at the time that basically said Ryan Walters sues atheist group, which, he's doing this for attention like the flamethrower lady. None of those articles pointed out he's full of shit.
Right.
Because, I don't know, mainstream news for you. But again, what is he suing over? He's suing over FFRF sending warning letters to 2 school districts. So he wanted attention. He got attention.
Yeah.
I guess that's a victory for him. He gets to build up his credentials with crazy Christian nationalists. And he also got in a few one-liners like,
good. I love a zinger.
Oklahoma will never be bullied by radical out-of-state atheists who use intimidation and harassment against kids. That was
I thought it was going to be punchy.
Yeah.
That wasn't punchy. That was just restating his thesis.
There you go. So this past May, FFRF went to the judge and they're like, can you toss this lawsuit?
Sir.
This is bullshit, right?
Sir.
Yeah. They said he doesn't have legal standing to file it.
And also, sir, this is an Arby's.
Yes. They said the federal courts have no business stepping in since no federal laws were violated.
Yeah.
Also, this is frivolous. Also, this targets our First Amendment rights. And also, nothing he says makes any sense. So even if you gave Ryan Walters a victory, what exactly are you going to give him?
Yeah, what is he...
Victory is not defined in any way in this lawsuit. So, like, any one of those things should be enough to dismiss this case. And FFRF is like, there's a whole bunch of them. Reasons for you not to take up this case. Walter's office responded to that with 20 pages of nonsense. They said,
20
we
pages?
do have legal standing because school districts often ask us for guidance on legal issues. They said the federal courts
guide them.
Yeah, they said the federal court does need to step in because FFRF is interfering with our federal duty to run the public school system in our state.
No.
They said the lawsuit was not frivolous because FFRF has threatened and will continue to threaten the free exercise rights of Oklahoma students and parents. And they say we do have a legal claim here because victory would stop FFRF's, quote, endless stream of cease and desist letters it routinely sends to Oklahoma public schools.
Boy, the last line was really telling on him, wasn't it? He really just self-snitched on that one.
Yeah.
They keep making us stop doing the things I want to do. I hate it.
Mind you, FFRF has not filed lawsuits in the 2 districts we have just talked about.
How many lawsuits have they filed against Oklahoma? Do you have a sense?
Several, but not for those 2 districts and not for those reasons. If they do, it's after the warning. It's after they've run out of options. So the federal judge has finally weighed in on this. This is a Trump-appointed judge.
Jesus Christ.
His name, by the way, John Heil, which that's not great.
No, come on, dude.
It was an 8-page ruling, which is very short.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, I'm paraphrasing, Ryan Walters, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, really?
Yes. So, for example, was the State Department of Education in Oklahoma, were they actually injured by FFRF's warning letters? Of course not.
Yeah.
And here's what the judge said. I'm going to replace defendant and plaintiff with FFRF and Ryan Walters.
Thank you.
How do FFRF's letters interfere with Ryan Walters' authority or ability to administer Oklahoma's public schools? In what way is Ryan Walters precluded from administering Oklahoma's public schools because of FFRF's letters? What has Ryan Walters intended to do but been unable to do because of FFRF's letters? The complaint does not answer these questions. Ryan Walters has not alleged that he has suffered some actual or threatened injury. Ryan Walters' generalized statement of injury is nothing more than conjecture.
Whoa.
He also said answering questions from school districts about these kinds of letters, which Ryan Walters is like, this is what we do here. Yeah, that's your job.
Yeah.
So why the hell are you whining about it? This is what the judge said. In essence, Ryan Walters concedes that addressing the type of letters it's complaining about is part of his duties, yet Ryan Walters says he's harmed because each time a district receives a cease and desist demand from FFRF, his office must expend valuable time and resources to address it. Back to the judge. Both things cannot be true.
Oh my God.
Ryan Walters cannot be both performing his duties by addressing the letters and impeded from performing his duties by addressing the letters.
Oh my God. And so this isn't even, we've seen a few times of like, listen, gang, this isn't it. But wink, wink, maybe if the circumstances were different.
Does all the time.
Of just like telegraphing, well, if a very specific.
That's what Clarence Thomas has done. He's like, listen, I want to get rid of marriage equality, but this case won't allow me to do it. But maybe in a future case, we could do that. And while we're at it, let's get rid of interracial marriage. Just don't look at my marriage.
Don't look at me or my wife.
This judge goes on. Look at this.
Oh, God.
The judge also noted, and he's like, how is this too much of a burden for your office to deal with? He writes, Ryan Walters only complains of 2, then in parentheses, the number 2.
Oh,
only complains of 2 letters sent by FFRF to 2 Oklahoma public schools in the past 7 years. You've gotten 2 letters from FFRF in 7 years, and you can't
and you're
do
overwhelmed.
Your job.
You're underwater on it.
Yes. And were these 2 letters, two letters, so powerful that they chilled the school district's freedom of speech? No, says the judge. The complaint does not allege that it has stopped doing its duties or ceased administration of Oklahoma's public schools because of FFRF's letters, nor does Ryan Walters allege that the schools have ceased any policies or practices because of FFRF's letters.
So you're lying, Ryan Walters.
Ultimately, he says there's no injury, which means you have no legal standing, which means there's nothing for me, the judge, to do, which means the whole case needs to be tossed out. And by the way, he even wrote in a footnote that Walters is lying about FFRS letters having a chilling effect on his office's work, because Walters told the court he has actively sought to address the dismantling of faith and family values in public schools by pushing Bibles in schools. So I know they haven't stopped you from doing shit.
Did he really say that?
Yes. He also noted that if FFRF got anything wrong in their complaint letters, the districts could have written back and said, look, there's been a misunderstanding, or just not done anything.
Yeah.
The fact that they responded and said, oh, I guess you're right, we'll stop doing that, suggests FFRF was right.
Was correct. Yeah, and everybody can see that except for Ryan Walters.
So it's just a complete takedown of a bullshit lawsuit. By the way, Ryan Walters on social media has not mentioned this at all.
How come?
I know.
Is he busy?
FFRF was like, we appreciate the clear-eyed ruling revealing the absurdity of the unwarranted legal attack against FFRF.
Well, that's good.
I mean, more broadly speaking, it's not just an embarrassment for Ryan Walters. It's an indictment of his priorities and a contempt for the law. This was a calculated, taxpayer-funded publicity stunt demonizing those who say, hey, maybe follow the Constitution. And his case didn't collapse because of some FFRF legal jujitsu. He lost because there was no case.
It was a house of
and
cards.
The Trump judge was like, what are you wasting my time for here?
Yeah, that's kind of the part that kills me is that he really kind of brought down the hammer. He wasn't even like, oh, I understand why family values and Christianity are so important. However, like it was very much like, dog, shut up.
Now, the only thing left to figure out is he going to appeal?
I was going to ask, can he?
There's no way. Like, at this point, you've already lost and you have no case. What are you going to do? Get embarrassed again? So then the question becomes, how much do the taxpayers of Oklahoma owe FFRF for Ryan Walters wasting their time? Because they got to pay FFRF's legal fees.
This is what I want to know.
I'm waiting to hear about that. Anyway.
I literally wrote to NPR's Planet Money to be like, hey, I'm just wondering if somebody can go through and just figure out how much money is being just flushed down the toilet in these sort of frivolous lawsuits. Like it feels to me almost like a money laundering scheme, right? Of like, we just have to keep this money circulating by suing and going to court.
Instead of doing real work, let us waste our time with this bullshit so we can pretend like we're doing work.
I bet suing somebody is a lot more fun than like filling out a spreadsheet or
Maybe.
I don't know.
It was like that judge we talked about last week who was like, let me prose up my decision.
Oh, yeah.
Can you all wait 4 weeks for my ruling? Anyway. I'll stop there for now. We got a lot going on in the bonus, apparently.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it in 10 minutes or less.
Apparently.
Really quickly.
Really quick. I saw the movie Eden, directed by Ron Howard, and I absolutely loved it. I will talk about it in the in post. A very funny, like, farcical situation happened to me at the barn Monday with some ducks who got into a space they weren't supposed to be. And you know what? I'll just leave it there. Those are good ones.
You can support us by going to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast.
I left my phone on the couch, so I can't read a
there
review.
There you go. You can leave a review, please, and we will see you next week.
And we'll see you September 13th at Solemn Oath, 5 p.m. Kid-friendly, animal-friendly. Daddy will be there. It'll be great.
Do it.